Kia ora tātou. Welcome everybody to the council meeting on the 30th of September 2025, which is a bit of an end of an era for some of us in this room and the start of a new beginning for others. So I'd like to move on to our opening karakia. Everybody's ready. Mā te whakapono, mā te tūmanako, mā te titero, mā te whakarongo, mā te mahitahi, mā te manawanui, mā te aroha, ka taia e tātou. Kia ora. Thank you, councillors. We do have a late apology this morning from Councillor Willison. I believe he's going to turn up late, but he sustained a bit of an injury and has gone for a bit of medical help this morning. So I'd like to move that his apology be accepted. Seconded. Councillor Prendergast, all in favour? It's carried, thank you. We have nobody in the public forum and no late items. And I'll just go to Councillor Dow to see if he is ready. Otherwise, we'll move on to. Okay, Councillor Dow, words of wisdom, please.
Work this first. Good morning, everyone. Leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating space for others to bring theirs.
Thank you.
Also, I'm not sure who said that.
Are there any are there any agenda items where councillors need to declare a conflict of interest? Yes, Councillor Jeffries.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I'm not too sure. The application from the Kāwhiakai Festival for road closure, I'm not actually on the committee, but I am on the fundraising, assisting with fundraising for them. So I didn't know whether that was a conflict or not. So I thought I'd just.
I think it's worthy of a mention, but I'm quite happy with just taking the case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goody.
I probably need to mention that I sit on the Kiwiana then for the Christmas parade one.
Okay, thank you. Confirmation of minutes, and I'll just, here I am, I'm not even prepared, am I? Confirmation of the Ōtorohanga District Council meeting held on the 26th of August. Do we have any items from there that need to be addressed? If not, Councillor Jeffries.
Well, just one point, Your Worship, on page 25, under item 278, there was some, Councillor, you sought clarification as to why ADC still needed to inspect buildings once the bill removed council ability. That's fine, but I just wondered with the most recent announcements from government, and I appreciate that it's only early days, but are we likely to get a report on the impact of the government's proposal to reduce earthquake remedial works for buildings in the Ōtorohanga district? Because I think that could be quite an issue to some. Yep.
Thank you for the question. I'll have to take that. We're on it. It's only just been announced. So I've asked our acting building manager to give me a memo. We can bring a report back if you would like us to. And I don't know what they will say at the moment.
Thank you. So I have recommendation in front of us that Ōtorohanga District Council confirm as a true and correct record the open minutes of the meeting held on the 26th of August. I'd like to move that. Secondly, Councillor Johnson. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to. Yes, Councillor.
I don't think I can second that. I was absent at that meeting. The 22nd of August.
Take that, Councillor. Thank you. Councillor Tamaki. All in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. Moving on to receiving the minutes of the Ōtorohanga Community Board meeting held on the 1st of September. I'd like to move those. Secondly, Councillor Christensen. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. My verbal report, it's very, very brief. I've obviously been a part of the Chief Executive Review Committee, and we'll see that in confidential minutes later on, or conventional part of the agenda. I attended the farewell of Mayor Southgate and Hamilton last week. After 24 years in local government, time as chair of the regional council, time as mayor of Hamilton City Council, I'm sure come the morning of October the 12th, she'll wonder what the heck's happened to her life, because 24 years is a considerable period of time. I attended the Meet the Candidates evening, probably the most relaxed I've ever been in the Meet the Candidates evening in my entire adult life. It was interesting, and look, good luck to everybody. And obviously the issue around the missing Marakopa family has come to an end. It's come to an end in regard to Tom and the children being found. It hasn't come to an end for the lifetime of challenges these children are going to face going So I'd like to move that my rural update or verbal report be received. Second by councillor Jeffries. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. We'll move on to decision reports, item 282, carryovers from the 24-25 financial year to the 25-26 financial year. Page 40, councillors. Welcome, Brendan.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, so this report is, as was just mentioned, the carryovers from last financial year into this financial year of the budgets. I'll take the report as read. I guess the only thing I'll sort of point out is that while the number of carryovers compared to last year is quite a lot more in terms of individual numbers, the actual amount being carried over is a lot less, which is nice to see. So, yeah, happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Brendan. That was, you're right. When I saw the number of carryovers, I did think that. And then when you saw the financial changes as the years has come down, which is really, really good to see. Just one question there in terms of council solar panel installation, $300,000. But there, are we still carrying on that path, or that's open to further discussion?
So, yes, at this point, it is still happening. Jared could probably speak more to it and provide more background. We obviously won't spend the whole 300,000 if it doesn't come to that. And I believe Jared's done some initial costings, and it probably won't be anywhere near 300,000.
Through you, Your Worship. Yeah, we've been doing some investigations with the lines company as well. We've done a fair bit of study, myself, Brendan, through all of this, and we still believe it would be quite feasible and worth carrying on with these. The power savings would be quite substantial over the years, and having our own capital infrastructure up there, we believe we get a better payoff as we get all the savings from that power generated. That 300,000 would also be across this building and the library, two of our main power users in the middle of the day.
Thanks, Jared. One further question from me. Organisational development, Brendan, once 160,000. Is that a carryover, or is that something that if it's not spent in that year, it's budgeted for the following year as well?
So that's a carryover. So you may recall, not everyone might, that back when Dave Clibbery left as CEO, he put a pool of money aside for the incoming CE to be able to do this sort of organisational development stuff. This is the money that's still there. So we've rated for it previously. And so we just carry that rather than, because you don't want to budget for it again, because then you rate for it again. And we've already got that rates money sitting in the account. So we just carry this over each year.
Thank you. I do remember that. And thanks for clarification. Councillors, any further questions regarding carryovers? Councillor Jeffries.
Thank you, Worship. Just one on page 42, Brendan, the table there, item 4, the Ōtorohanga stormwater consent.
Yep.
We've spent, by the looks of it, just on the 200,000.
Yes.
Is that, but the consent renewal is ongoing? So does that indicate that the consent process is likely to exceed the 200,000?
Yes. I don't have any, I don't know if Jared has any, if he's talked to Robbie about it, any inkling as to how much it's going to exceed by.
Yep.
I believe they're getting towards the end of it, aren't they? The process. Do you know, Jared? No.
Sorry, no, I'm not sure at what stage that's at.
So,
That's fine. I mean, it's funded by internal loan and depreciation
Yes.
reserves anyway. So, but it was just it seemed
yes.
so close. I just wondered about that. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Councillor Christensen.
I've just got 2, maybe 3. 11, the community development housing review.
Yes.
Is that what council's doing with Elevate? Or is that something separate?
No, that's through Your Worship. That is a review of our council-owned housing.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you for the clarification. Number 14, the 30 K and the 23 carried over. Is that in reference to the 30 K that was in our last report for consent costs? For Rewa?
So that 30K budget was just a sundry reserves budget. So it was there for anything that Jared thought we needed to spend the money on. Because of the removal costs, it's been
suggested that we carry that over, or that 23,000 of that, and use that to go towards some of those removal costs.
So the 6.8 that's been spent isn't necessarily being spent on the, okay,
No.
no, because I was gonna say, is that the amount for one staff meeting with them? Okay, no, that's cool. And oh, I was just gonna, it's not really a question, but the solar panels, when Jared, you're doing the investigation and stuff, will you take into consideration that because we're an anchor institute, that maybe when we're investigating it, we're also investigating how we can lead or provide bigger businesses in our area, our learnings, so that maybe they can, we say we're an anchor institute, and I think this would be a really good inspirational way to actually prove it.
Yeah.
Cool. Goodbye.
Thank you. Any further questions, councillors? Thank you, Brendan. We have a resolution here that Ōtorohanga District Council approve the carrying over of $3,219,338 to the 25-26 financial year for the following projects. Move Councillor Williams, second Councillor Dow. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, item 283, outdoor fitness station relocation to Mayor Street, page 48. Welcome, Jared.
Good morning, Your Worship, councillors. This report is coming to you following a workshop with the community board. In recent times, we had some pretty high floodwaters, and what we found is the fitness station that was agreed to, the location, the fitness station would have gone under twice in 1 year, which financially starts making it a bit hard, the amount of sediment and things that would settle in there. So we took a workshop to community board to find a better location. The location will have no financial impact on what's already been agreed at all. But we found this spot on Mayor Street, which is accessible, not flood prone, and plenty of parking and everything. So it ticks all the same boxes, access to the walkway, but it just means our ongoing costs will be lower. As you'd know, if it goes under with the surround and the wood chip, you'll nearly have to dig it out with the amount of silt and things that would settle in there. So I'll hand it over for any questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Jared. I'm glad that yours just covered before the fitness centre was put up. I can't recall off the top of my head the timing of the installation.
So our builder is nearly ready to go now. We've had it all signed off, so timing wouldn't change much.
It's all good for the summer months coming.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Questions, councillors? Oh, everybody's pretty relaxed. Can't wait to get out there. Thank you. And that will be our next post on the Ōtorohanga District Council website. Okay, we have a resolution that Ōtorohanga District Council approves the relocation and construction of the fitness station at the Mayor Street location as shown in Appendix 1. Move Councillor Johnson, seconded Councillor Hughes, all in favour. And well supported by Councillor Christensen. Thank you, carried. Sorry, Trent. Thank you, Jared. Moving on to item 285, application for temporary road closure. I believe Emma's come out. Just like to mention something on these road closures. I've been on council for 15 years and these are still coming to the council for passing in a resolution. I would suggest that after all this time and over 15 years that the staff at no point having failed in the delivery of road closures or the protection of our roads going forth and the considerable amount of time it takes for staff to actually prepare these reports and for us to make a decision and the delay in delivery as a consequence of this, I would suggest that the new council, when they come in, really consider whether they remove that, make it a staff decision and just share that information with councillors for their discussion as opposed to coming to the council table. On that fine note, I will pass over to Emma. Kia ora, Emma.
Morning all. So this report seeks approval for a temporary road closure to enable the Elevate Ōtorohanga Christmas Parade to take place on the 6th of December. This event is well supported by the community, contributes both positively to local engagement and supports our local businesses through increased foot traffic and economic activity. The event was publicly advertised and no objections were received. The proposed conditions are standard for road closures and staff will apply the appropriate lens to ensure that they are practical, proportionate and responsive to the needs of the community. I'm happy to take any questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Emma. Any questions, councillors? Thank you, councillor Dow.
No questions, but Max has been reading my 100-day plan. But anyway, yeah. So well done, Max. I think the only thing we could do is use nature as supporting us and just say that that slip's coming down and cone it off. It'll be cheaper to run emergency management. That might save quite a bit of money, but yeah, I think, yeah, there's Christmas parade, Anzac parades, there's certain parades that districts, areas need and want, and it's good for them. The Kai Festival and things like that. So yeah, it's probably bureaucracy taking up time. Yeah, but anyway.
Awesome.
Can't
Thanks,
say a
councillor.
word, but no, thank you. I support it, obviously.
Any further questions, councillors? If not, we have the resolution. I'm going to read it out. That the Ōtorohanga District Council approve the temporary road closure in accordance with sections 319H and 342 and section 11 of Schedule 10 of the Local Government Act 1974, Maniapoto Street from Takanawa Street to Ranfurly Street, Torongo Street from Kakamutu Road to Balance Street, Pine Street and Wahanui Crescent, Woodington Lane, Cowley Lane and Ranfurly Street on Friday, 6th of December 2025 from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and B, authorise public notification of the approved road closure before the event as required by the Local Government Act 1974. Moved Councillor Christensen, seconded Councillor Dow. All in favour? Sorry, my apologies. Favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Don't go anywhere, Emma, because you're on to item 285.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. This report seeks approval for a temporary road closure on Jervis Street in Kawhia to support the 116th Annual New Year's Regatta on the 1st of January 2026. The event is a long-standing tradition that draws visitors, supports local businesses and strengthens the community identity. The event was publicly advertised and no objections were received. The proposed conditions are standard for road closures and staff will also apply the appropriate lens to ensure that they are practical and responsive to the needs of the residents and stakeholders. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Councillor Jeffries.
Thank you, Worship. Morning. Just a quick question. I know that the Rowing Regatta Club has always been struggling a bit for funds. Was the cost of the road closure this year, was that remitted in any way? Did they have to pay for that? Do you know if or have they?
Through your worship. So the actual cost of the road closure is usually carried through a provider, not council. We don't charge them for the actual request.
So, yeah.
It's then done through your roading type companies, which we don't have those abilities in-house.
Right. So what are the council costs then?
I don't believe we have any costs for road closure, the actual closure. This gets signed off and then we get a plan submitted to us, which is followed through a company.
Okay, good. Just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Through you, Wish, if I may, they may have applied for a community grant. We're not sure. Nadia is just going to check on whether they received one.
They did. Yeah, they did. Yeah. I'm just not 100% how much.
I'll move the resolution.
Good. Thank you, councillor. That is resolution on item 285 for the application of temporary road closure at Kawhia Rowing Regatta Club. It's 116th Annual New Year's Regatta. As we've taken that resolution read and Councillor Jeffries has moved it, I see that we've got a seconder in Councillor Dow. Thank you. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to item 286. It's an application for a temporary road closure. Kawhia Kai Festival. Emma, that'll be you.
For expediency's sake, Your Worship, I'll move the resolution.
I will give Emma the opportunity to say a couple of words.
Cool. So this report seeks approval for a temporary road closure on Jervis Street, Kawhia, to support the Kawhia Kai Festival on the Saturday, 7th of February 26. This event will draw significant community and visitor interest and provide a boost to local businesses. The event was publicly advertised and there were no objections received. The proposed conditions are again standard for road closures to apply the appropriate lens to ensure that they're fit for purpose and responsive to the needs of the Kawhia community. I'm happy to take any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma. And thank you for the work you've gone to in putting these reports together and bringing them to council. It's much appreciated. We have taken the resolution as read. Councillor Jeffries has already jumped ahead of the gun. Is there any questions from other councillors?
I just had one question, just thinking about it now. What say they want to postpone it a week because of weather, something like that, you know? Do they have to go through the whole process again with that normally?
Through you, Your Worship, a lot of these road closures, when they put in their application, they generally are over a couple of weeks. Like when we did some work, you ask for a bit of a broader scope, so then you do have a bit of a contingency in there.
Yeah, I was just thinking,
So when they go to their provider, the provider will quite often actually put in 2 or 3 weeks space with a day that main day they will carry out the works.
Yeah, sorry, I think it's a very good question, because the Kai Festival is a classic example of perhaps where that doesn't quite fit, because if you've got a whole lot of stall holders who've booked in for that particular day, and you've also got entertainers booked in for that day, to change the date is going to be a real mission. So it's very weather dependent, that particular festival. So I just wanted to make that point and encourage as many elected members and staff as possible to be present at that festival. It'd be nice to see you all. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Councillor Jeffries. Again, thank you, Emma, and thank you, Jared, for that. Item 286, we've already, for the application for temporary road closure of the Kawhia Kai Festival. Councillor Jeffries has moved that resolution, seconded by Councillor Tamaki. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Jared. Moving on to item 287, Te Nehi Nui Joint Management Agreement and Schedules. We've got Cassidy and Tony. Welcome. And that is page 63, councillors.
Morena koutou, ka tika me mihi kia koutou. A tuatahi ka tika me mihi kia koe e te koro matua nau I whakapaukaha I ngā mahi hei hapa I tēnei tūru. Tēnei tūranga ai tako kitinga ai kua rangatira tōtu no reira. Ka tika me mihi kia koe hoki te koro matua tuarua e Annette, kia koe hoki te kaikaunihira Roy. Tēnei te reo o mihi o te ngākau kia koutou, o tira kia koutou ngā kaikaunihira, tēnā koutou katoa. Yes, morena. Tony and I are here this morning to reaffirm and to bring forward the Te Nehi Nui Joint Management Agreement and schedules. These schedules were approved by the council quite a while ago now in May 2025. Since then, they have also been approved and adopted by the Joint Management Committee earlier this month. As part of upholding that process and formalities, they've been brought back to council to be approved. Yes, and I guess in terms of the details, there aren't any significant changes since this was formally approved here, and I'm open for questions at this time.
Awesome. Thank you, Cassidy. Any questions, councillors?
Through you, Your Worship. So this has been a real journey to get to this point. So when the actual partnership parts, the all the components, when will we actually see that start to play out?
Tēnā koe, Councillor Prendergast. So a great partai in regard to the notions of partnership and working together moving forward. So the technical aspect of the schedules will be implemented as part of a work program as agreed to by the committee and each respective council. But alongside that, there are a number of engagements that Ōtorohanga District Council has been engaging with at a more operational level in line with the spirit of this agreement. Part of that looks like joint leadership meetings between council leadership and Te Nehene Henui leadership. There's been a number of engagements for our significant strategies and plans where representatives at a marae and at an organisational level have been working in partnership alongside us. But moving forward, and it will be with the direction and guidance of our new council following the election, there will be a priority in terms of outlining and understanding key aspects in which we would like to move forward as per the work program.
Well, thank you, Councillor Tamaki.
Morena, I'll just not a question, but more just some clarity on it. So this is also a bit of a change in history. So I think it's a real strengthening of partnership, and they've signed off the southern end as of last Monday. So that's another real connection in terms of the real essence of what a JMA should, or the hononga that a JMA should be working in. And I think in the near future, we should start to see some real cohesion in some of the projects that we whether they be a part of the way, a part of the communities, but I think there's a real collective understanding of where we sit in this JMA. And I'm proud. I'm proud of the work that our team as council has implemented into these schedules. And one of the kōrero that I shared at the JMA hui when we did pass them was that it's they use wai as some of their foundations, but no wai, ko wai. And so we can change it from water into people. And I think that's the real beauty of this JMA, that it's adaptable.
Councillor Jeffries.
Thank you, Worship. Questions really back to Councillor Tamati. On the map on page 88, the only part of the district that doesn't form part of this agreement is around the Kawhia Aotea area. And I just wondered, is there any thought of having any discussions with the likes of Hikairo or Te Wehi, or to sort of bring them into the fold, if you like, or is that something that politically is not?
No, hey, there's always a conversation, and there's always room for improvement. And I think part of this JMA is to form those relationships. I know Ngāti Hikairo have stood outside of the entities and stood on their own, but I think some of these schedules are quite fluid, and I think if we are using them to benefit each other, there's some real room for them to come to the table and have that discussion. I think I was a part of a Aotearoa Kawhia hui last night, or I was having a listen in, and there's some real movement, new people at the table, younger generation at the table, really interested into how they can be seen in those spaces, how they can be felt in those spaces. So yeah, absolutely, always opportunity to come and talk. It's never an issue.
Tanya.
Yeah, through your worship, just in addition to that, we do have, Jared, is it a memorandum of understanding, or we do have an agreement with Ngāti Hikairo around how we engage with them on certain matters, different from a JMA, but still, a process for kōrero and working together with them. And we've had early discussions with other iwi out at the coast, and that those relationships, I guess, are forming, and at some point we will it's likely we'll move to something more formal, but at the moment it's around kind of how we work together.
I think if my memory serves me correct, that MOA with Ngāti Ōkairo would have been signed in 2012, 2011, one of those 2 years.
The other thing I was just going to add, just if I can, so just recall these JMAs have come out of post-treaty settlement. So if the other iwi go through similar process, then there may be JMAs from that legislation. We can do voluntary JMAs under the Resource Management Act and Mana Whakahone Arohi. They're both voluntary, and we don't know what the future RMA will look like around those two things. So there may be some opportunity, there may not be, in the new RMA as well.
Any further questions, councillors? In the absence of further questions, first off, Cassidy, thank you for the mahi you've done here, and thank you, Tony and Jamie, the work that you've done to get this stage. It's been interesting looking back over the years, and it has been somewhat of an organic development, but it's really cool to get to the stage where we're at now. So great to have this document in front of us that we can finally sign off on. So item 87, our recommendation is that Ōtorohanga District Council adopt the Te Nehe Nui Joint Management Agreement and schedule is presented in Appendix 1 of the staff report. I'd like to move that. Second, Councillor Williams, all in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, gentlemen.
Tēnā koutou, thank you.
Right, we're moving on to our information only reports. Item 288, Finance Report to 31st of August. Brendan, welcome. Page 185, 105, councillors.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. So yes, this is the report to the end of August. As you can see in the executive summary, we've got an operating surplus that's slightly up on budget, $500,000 up on budget, and our capital expenditures under budget by about $100,000. Rather than go through the report, I'll take it as read and just ask if there's any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Brendan. Councillor Jeffries.
I'll have the second one. No, good report. Thanks, Brendan. I appreciate that we're only what 2 months into the financial year, so there's probably not too much to read into this. Yeah, no, you caught me on the hop there, Ray. No, I won't commit myself any further than that. Thank you.
In the absence of no further quick questions, I'll go over to Councillor Johnson.
Yeah, thanks, Brendan. Just on page 107, the road maintenance, yeah, we're the variance down 300,000 for just for this quarter. So any explanation for that?
Well, it's actually 300 up on budget.
300 up, yeah, sorry.
It's just a timing thing, particularly road maintenance, obviously. Very weather dependent, some of it. So if the weather's been good, they try and get stuff done, or if it was good for environmental maintenance, for example, they might have spent more time doing some of that. So yeah, it's a very difficult one to nail down.
Yeah, I understand timing. And also just on page 109, I guess it's the same thing on operating expenditure, resilient infrastructure. Land transport, that's part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So road
41. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the flood protection at 57K. That's
yeah. No, they've been up. I don't know if Jared has anything about that one. Flood protection, why that might be up quite substantially. We spent anything big on flood protection in the last couple of months?
We've just done some recent works, and we've done some work on some of the pumps as well.
Yes.
Along with other, but those works continue. It's just the timing of when they were carried out.
Yeah. Yes, that's probably it. So, pump maintenance, obviously be quite expensive because we've got big pumps. So if we've done some of that before we plan to, that would be part of the explanation.
Councillor Williams.
Not a question. Thank you, Bishop. An acknowledgement on the growth of our financial reports, and which actually is a reduction, but yeah, timely, relevant, and hopefully less, like, it might seem like more work, but less work for you and your team, compared to the quarterly detailed reports that we used to receive some years ago. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you, councillor. Now that Councillor Jeffries has got his act together, back to you, sir.
I couldn't let the opportunity go by, Your Worship. Brendan, on 4.3, yesterday the Risk and Assurance Committee adopted or approved the revaluation of the rating asset. Could you just explain to the councillors what effect that has on the depreciation and the funding of that for current year, please?
Yeah, I can do that. So I guess the overall movement in the valuation of our rating assets, because the revaluation was just over $10 million increase. What that's done for the depreciation is the depreciation, we're looking at about, on existing assets for this year, $4.7 million. We did budget just over $5 million for roading depreciation this year. So that difference will probably be made up with the capital works we do during the current year, because they will obviously get depreciated. So it'll look like we will end up under budget, or about on budget. What that does mean going forward is, from funding point of view, we're not in a situation where we've had historically where movement's been so big that depreciation is actually much more than we budgeted, which then means we have to budget the following year to rate to get that money back to cover those depreciations. So in this case, we're actually in a good place that the rates should not need to increase to cover depreciation operating because of this valuation. Yes.
Councillor Dow.
I was just wondering about this flood protection. Yep. The contouring of the land on over a road, they've recontoured all that flood area. Does that come down as flood protection, or does that come down as the grazier has to pay for?
Through you, Your Worship. No, that's work we've always planned to do. We're doing a couple of other areas as well. It's not just contouring, it's making the area easier. We're going to fence some of that off and plant around our inlets to help with our stormwater consents and things. So it's ticking more than one box, the work we're doing there.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, councillor. No further questions. We have the recommendation that Ōtorohanga District Council receive the report titled Financial Report for the month ending 31 August 2025, document number 847352. Moved Councillor Jeffries. I'll second that. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, Brendan, yet again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. Okay, moving on to the next item. But before I do, I'd just like to welcome two people in the public gallery in the back there who are actually going to be councillors. And I'm just hoping at this moment that you're both not regretting your decision. So outside of that, I really don't care. But it's good to have you here. Moving on to item 289, Capital Projects Report for the month ending 31 August 2025. Welcome, Robbie and Jared.
Thank you, Your Worship. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Good morning, all. This report provides Council with an update on delivery of the Capital Works Program against the 2024-27 long-term plan. It outlines projects completed, those underway, and key milestones coming up. Overall, program delivery is tracking on schedule, with projects being delivered within approved budgets and timeframes. The report also highlights some of the challenges we're managing, including unplanned works on the APS seawall, And the recommendation before council today is simply to receive the report. So I'll hand over for any questions.
Thank you, Robbie. Any questions, councillors? Councillor Jeffries,
Just-
councillor Dow.
Yeah, just the one on, sorry, on page, sorry, Robbie, where am I? 113. We talk about projects underway. You're talking about the two seawalls, one at Aotea, one at Carfield. We had quite a session yesterday in the risk and assurance meeting, and I know we've got a workshop on later today. But I think councillors generally should be aware that it's become a bit of an issue, and probably a bigger issue than we had previously thought of. So there's a bit of head scratching to do around that one. Yeah. So watch this space.
Thank you, councillor Dow.
I just sort of had a question, well, the Ōtorohanga, well, the public toilet really, so when in this one, it stinks. Like, does it get a deep clean? I just noticed that you've got a new contractor, and I'm not blaming him because, well, her or whoever, you know. The other question I had was about the lowest price conforming tenders. I thought we made a decision to have an anchor, like, so local. We weren't going to just go on lowest pricing level.
Yeah, that's a consideration, but we still run tender processes according to a methodology. But we include considerations around being an anchor organisation, supporting locals where we can. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it clearly says here lowest price, which I thought that was.
Yeah.
So one of the,
And the
yeah,
working gets.
so one of the elements in the conforming bit is around locals.
Anyway.
Through your worship, just the first question.
Yeah, sorry.
So as part of the contract, a deep clean's done quarterly, which is coming up in November. It's been booked in. In between is just standard cleaning, but we do inspections probably monthly to keep an eye on things to make sure. Public toilets are very hard. They can come in and scrub them perfectly clean, and within half an hour we can have complaints. We've inspected and within half an hour had a complaint of dirtiness, and we've been there ourselves and they were perfectly clean. It's timing is everything with those, but we do our best.
I think they're clean. It's just they didn't rain. No, like that public, yeah, they need maybe need a refurb. I don't know. They're just, you know, too many bad aimers.
Councillor Tamaki.
Oh yeah, just on oh my finger, just on the question that you raised, Councillor Jeffries. This is a real good space, I think, when we think about the JMA, when we think about partnerships, when we think about coming to the table talk around where everybody sits. And you know, I would encourage us to use that JMA to you know, become quite collective in this decision around these two assets, these two little communities to uphold. But
Thank you. No further questions. We have the resolution that Ōtorohanga District Council received a report titled Capital Projects Report for the month ending 31 August 2025, document number 8, from Robbie Whiteman, Managed Projects. Move Councillor Christensen, seconded Councillor Dow. All in favour? Against, carried. Thanks, Robbie. Another good report. It's always nice to see the progress we're making on capital works. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, this is what happens, guys, when you're efficient. You have to take a break. So everybody, even if you need to or not, go use the bathroom and have a cup of tea. Kia ora tātou, I'd like to welcome everybody back, and if everybody could please take their seats. Councillor Jeffries thank you. I'll only tell Councillor Jeffries off, you're safe. Awesome. So I'd like to reconvene the meeting and we'll move on to item 290, Ōtorohanga Kiwi House Progress Report to 30 June 2025. Welcome, Graham, and welcome, Richard and Kim. Over to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, your worship. I'm going to hand over to Richard and Kim to present their report, and then we'll take any questions as we go. Thanks.
Thanks, Graham. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, so the report presented today is to the end of 30 June 2025. The financials themselves are unaudited accounts that have been prepared for the full year ended 31st of May 2025. They indicate a net profit or a net loss, of 64,000, and probably more on the pleasing side is that ticket sale numbers have increased. And that has generated some extra revenue. And there's also been some wage adjustments, which is tying in with our development expense. I think the important thing to recognise here is these accounts are unaudited at this stage. And we do, based on the statement of position, we do actually have a large amount in other current liabilities. That's to do with some grant funding from the IRG. Once we work through the audit process, we will then effectively move some of that current liability across to revenue, but it also overlaps with the last part of our project, which is the Animal Nutrition and Enrichment Centre, and some of that we've just actually completed. So those that cost comes through in this financial year. In regards to, there's no other grants at this stage in progress. There is another payment due from the Ōtorohanga Charitable Trust, which will go towards development, and that hasn't been allocated at this stage. I've touched on visitor numbers, etc. Just a breakdown. We continue to see a large volume of internationals, 72.5%, which is our bread and butter in regards to the Kiwi House. Probably of note is we have been incorporated, or we were invited, and we are participating in a Tourism New Zealand 100% campaign. That's had some traction for us. That's been pretty good on our social media strategies as well. So we'll continue to leverage off that. We've also just given our gift shop a bit of a revamp, which is a work in progress, but it's certainly already seeing a lift in sales of gifts, etc. Apart from that, that's really all I have to update council at this stage.
Awesome. Thank you, Richard. I'm sure you're getting your head around the organisation now. Been there, how many months have you been there now?
Started in April, yeah. No, it's a pretty cool place. And yeah, we've just been working really hard on staff, but also just doing a little bit around repairs and maintenance, just trying to make sure the park maintains its great reputation in the district.
Cool. Yeah, so from our behalf, it's really good to still have you on board. Really appreciate your input into the organisation. And Kim, really good to see the coverage on television, and the support of the weta. It was really cool, and it was a decent length article too, which was really cool, quite nice, rather than just a snapshot. So no, good on you guys for getting the coverage there. Questions, councillors? Councillor Prendergast.
Through you, your worship. Great report, thank you, and really excited to see a little lift for you. That has been hard won. Now, the Animal Nutrition and Enrichment Centre, which you've just completed, when does that become part of the visitor experience?
So that hopefully will become part of the visitor experience in about 3 weeks' time. So firstly, we have to relocate the team into the new kitchen, train them, and that's happening later this week and next week. And then we do our last part, which is to create a viewing area, reopen the predator-proof fence, and then we'll incorporate that through. So we're looking forward to doing that. And we're also looking at having an official opening in early November as well. So we'll make the most of that opportunity.
Great, so that's more advertising. Yes,
Yeah.
very good. I really like the article on your talk and Tilly. I was determined to get my grandchildren to see it these holidays, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
You'll be around for a while.
Yeah, he's actually become a bit of a star attraction at the moment, Kathy, and he does have a couple of phrases I understand that we wish someone hadn't taught him, but on the whole, yeah, he's a massively cool ambassador, and Tyler, our social media guy, is made full use of that. You know, when you're getting views of over 1 million on our social media, that's like pretty outrageous compared to where we sat just a short time ago. So yeah, he's working his magic there. It's good. Yeah.
Councillor Hughes.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. Hi guys, here you go. Just going back to what his worship said before about the media coverage. So if you sort of feedback have you got since that run? I mean, you know, you will have correlate that with increase in the domestic numbers rather than, you know, you say you got high international numbers, but stories like that will certainly resonate, I would think. So have you had any feedback since that from anyone?
You have had a lot of feedback. Numbers wise, there's sort of a delay to see if there is a bump. However, school holidays has been strong and people have made mention coming to have a look weekly and all the rest of it. So I think it's having better. But it's one of those things you sort of got to wait a couple of months to get those numbers in. But our website and online sales, you might have seen the accounts were 0 previous year. It's built to 67. That's where we feel we can have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say, for example, Steve, I was in there yesterday with some VIP visitors, and there was a couple touring from Australia with their granddaughter, and she'd come especially because she had seen Lately on social media. So yeah, that's how that world works. Yeah.
That's great. You know, so certainly the coverage on the television was great. It was really interesting, and so you hope that guides into some more numbers coming through for you. So
Absolutely.
time will tell.
Yep. And with the weather release, that's Doc that organises all that. But I think our staff, particularly our wildlife manager, performed incredibly well. Came across, yeah. I thought as the day went on, he got even better. So yeah, yeah, everyone is doing a bit, and it's just looking really positive, and just so much interest out there, which is fantastic.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson.
Please, just a question, what would be the portion of organised tour groups as opposed to walk-ins, you know, in terms of visitor numbers? If you, or just roughly, if you haven't got that statistic, and the second question is, would you have any idea of how many tour groups go past straight to the Waitomo Caves without stopping in at the Kiwi House?
Yeah, I'll speak to that, Roy. Really good question, and something that we're actively investigating right at this moment. We know that 600,000 people go to the caves every year, and we're capturing about 65,000 of those. So we have just started conversations with some inbound tour operators for exactly those reasons. Yeah, because there's a captive market going right past the door. We don't actively participate in that space at the moment, purely because of the lack of facilities on site. But that's absolutely something we are looking into, and when we present to council in the December meeting, hopefully we have got some more information around that. Yeah, early indications are favourable.
And there's a couple of other things we're working on. So we're looking forward to having extra car parking space at the side of the Kiwi House between football field and that. I think that that will provide obviously more space. The second part is there's an area that we've regrassed. We're going to create a summer picnic area, which is but part of that is we can then start to work with Waitomo Caves and others to say, look, once you've been caving, come and have a look around, but also take your time and enjoy the area. So it's just engaging a little bit more, but I'm really once that extra car parking, I think that'll make a huge difference to our volumes, but also allow traffic to spread around with the football and other events.
We're really lucky already with our association with the caves in particular, and actually all the operators out at Waitomo. They actively encourage the visitors to come into us, and recent times when there's been a lot of rain, which is often, and the caves is actually closed, we get a massive influx of visitors that have been encouraged to come and visit us. So
Thank you, councillor Christensen.
Hi. I just wanted to congratulate you on your website redo. It's fantastic. And the fundraising bit, like the adopt a bird and support, is really good to see, because you used to have members and send them out forms, and that stopped quite a while ago. So I've had a few people ask, oh, did the Kiwi House still do that? So it was really good to see that on the website. And the social media, your guy is amazing. I share those the posts all the time. They're just really cool. So hopefully it builds visitor numbers.
Appreciate the feedback on that.
yeah, thanks, Katrina. And yeah, definitely having Tyler skills in there. Just we've always done good work at the Kiwi House and punched really well above the weight. But we've never been really good at telling our story, or actually, letting people know about it. And this is just the start of us being able to do that. So yeah, it's great. It's having an impact already. So thank you. I just wanted to talk really quickly about the AGM and Ray Scrimmager. He's actually taken on the vice chair role now. He's an incredible man. He's got an astounding amount of knowledge, and he just quietly goes about his work. But decades of service to Doc and the Kiwi House, and is regarded in a huge manner. So that for us, for him to take that position on, we're really thrilled about that, and it just gives him just that little bit more standing to add to what he already has. Yeah. To quickly talk to Richard's point about applications, we actually just last night have submitted an application for funding, and that would be to enable our solar project. So yeah, that wasn't in the report, it's just happened. And if I may, I just, on behalf of the Kiwi House, would like to thank the outgoing members of the council. Your support has been incredible. It's genuine, and we hope you feel that back from us. And yeah, we're just incredibly grateful for what you've done for the Kiwi House and the community, and not just with our organisation, but with all the organisations. So just want to take the opportunity to say, yeah, thank you very much to all of those wonderful people. Yeah, thank you.
Cool, thank you, Kim. Now to address the elephant in the room. This one's at you, Richard. Hey, in what is a really tight fiscal environment at the moment, as your profit and loss statement indicates, at the last year's financials, you are due for loan repayments beginning 1 July 2026, which is just around the corner. How confident are you that you'll be able to start those loan repayments at that stage?
Well, I think for us to roll on to a full loan repayment program will be challenging. Kiwi House, I will be honest. It's not unsurmountable. We're certainly talking about a strategic plan that takes that into account, but also can meet those obligations. As it stands at present, yes, it will be a challenge, and we just need to continue to work through that. So that would be my feedback at this time. I think it's important that we address that and present that more formally in December in the New Year meeting.
Yeah, it'd really be appreciated. I think the ongoing communication and contact with council is going to be imperative going forward. Obviously, there's going to be a whole new group of elected members around the table, but as you can also appreciate, local government is under such scrutiny at the moment about anything out of core expenditure. So this year would probably fit quite comfortably outside of what we should be doing. So yeah, we're also very aware of those eyes that are on the back of our head as well. Councillor Jeffries.
Thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, congratulations. That's a very good report. And yes, I agree with Councillor Christensen on the website. So yeah, it's a good view. The only question I had really was around wages, and I noticed in here that you had sorry, where am I? It's on page 119 for our councillors, but the summarised financial report for 2025, the main expense was wages at 897, just under 900, which was an increase of 180 from the previous year. And then I notice in your forecast, it's gone up over 900. Are you fully staffed at the moment?
We are now officially fully staffed.
So your financial forecasts cater for a full staff complement?
Yes,
Yep.
it does.
Okay. Yep.
And I think that the difference or the increase in wages, from an accounting point of view, is there was part of the grant development, was an allocation of wages that went to that development grant. That's now finished, and everything's what's all paid for by the park, which is that wages.
Right.
Of 897, and that budget of 100. We're fully staffed, but we're currently operating under that number slightly. So yeah, that's a number that we're very confident in.
No, good. That's all I have. Thanks. Yep.
Thank you, councillor Tamaki.
No real question, but I just, again, thank you for looking after the taonga that we have within the area. And it's like everyone has mentioned, it's nice to see the broadcast coming over, but I think now the Kiwi House is playing in a world where it's accessible to all. So you've got Tyler, he's amazing. He's done some work for me in terms of some other mahi, but I think we're really punching into those worlds of our rangatahi, the world of the next generation that are coming through. So you're seeing the real impact of that. And my moko goes to the Kiwi House in the next couple of days, so she can't wait to meet him. So ngā mihi.
Yeah, kia ora, Jamie. Thank you for that. I think at the moment we currently have about 8,500 school children that come through our facility every year. So with increased facilities, we'll be able to increase that number and also go online. So people from around the world can actually share a virtual classroom with us and the work we do here. And one of the things that Tyler has got us involved with as an organisation out of Canada. So that's kind of just a little bit of a start to where we want to push that as well. Yeah, but we are looking to monetize things. We were very conscious of where the business sits and keeping a close eye on things.
Thank you, councillor Dow.
Yeah, no, thanks for your effort, Kim and Richard. I just wanted to say, at the AGM, when they had one of your founder members, Barry Rose, speak on video link, it was a really interesting story, especially the having scrambled eggs out of kiwi eggs. maybe we should put a cafe and make them. But anyway, no, it was, if you can capture some of those moments of the founder members and some of the things that have gone on, it was really great. So thanks for everything. Yeah, cheers.
Thanks for that comment, Rod, and thanks to the councillors that came to support us at our AGM. Barry is an absolute character, and fortunately for us, one of our board members is a documentary filmmaker. So all those stories have been captured and will feature in the new visitor centre. So, but anyway, we look forward to giving the council a formal update on our strategic direction in December.
Cool. Thank you for that, Kim. No further questions, councillors? Richard and Kim, thanks for coming along today. Really appreciate the report and looking forward to the next one and seeing where progress goes to the Kiwi House. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Max.
We have a resolution in front of us that the Ōtorohanga District Council received the Ōtorohanga Kiwi House progress report to 30th June 2025. Moved Councillor Hughes, seconded Councillor Tamaki. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Johnson, are you ready for your councillor update?
Yes, but nothing to report really, just the chief executive review, otherwise just no council engagements.
Things are quieting down for some reason. Councillor Prendergast.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, a very, very quiet month. I've just had the North King Country Development Trust, and of course we have our Risk Essentials workshop all day on Thursday, and delighted to see people from the Ōtorohanga District Council really engaging. So that's been a real thrill. So that's it.
So thank you, councillor Tamaki.
It was pro bono again. No. So tēnā hene henui hui for the JMA. Attended the festival for the Tēnā Hene Henui Incorporated Kapaka Festival. Chief Executive Review hui, grants and awards, creative communities. Attended the pōwhiri for the water done well at Karapiro for the new board. Had a kōrero around collaboration with Hauraki and some of the kura over there coming into our area and using, in particular, kawhia as a learning platform for their kura around tainui waka. So that we all had hui with some rangatahi around collective pathways within our schools. Promoting some of the Māori ward stuff and encouraging whānau to vote with line dancing, which I realise I'm okay. Kapahaka, I'm not okay at line dancing. I'm a bit koretake. Did them meet the candidates nights in Ōtorohanga and in Kawhia, and I just want to commend everyone on those nights. Everyone spoke well. It seemed to go really good, and yeah, and I suppose that's me. Kia ora.
Awesome. Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Worship. Obviously the CEV Review Committee, but the only other one was the Joint Committee with Waikato Civil Defence Emergency Management. Yeah, good to see finally some progress on incorporating iwi leadership in emergency management. We acknowledge that so much is marae based in those sorts of events, but it's been difficult to get a place at the Joint Committee table. And so we're the key committee, the executive leadership, there's finally we're making some ground there, and hopefully that will progress. There's a shakeout on the 16th of October 25. It would be good to see some participation. Also a good, even though it's about what to do if there's an earthquake, it's also a good time to practice your tsunami measures. And for whoever who takes up the position on the Joint Committee, whether the Mayor takes a seat at the Joint Committee table or delegates that to someone else, there is a good induction program being developed by the permanent staff at GMOs, so take advantage of it. And take some time to see how we can all help ourselves when there is an incident to manage. I think that's all. Yep, that's. I got a medal. It is. Yeah. Myself and Councillor Buckthorpe as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Councillor Christensen.
As Kim said, a few of us went to the Kiwi House AGM, and on the 10th there was a Chrome workshop in the tuatara room. It was a bit disappointing to see that there wasn't very many businesses attending, because it was a really good workshop with Colette from the police and Mandy from ComSafe. On the 15th, the candidates night at the college, which had pretty good attendance. So yeah, that was pretty cool. 17th, grants and awards and creative communities meeting, and then popped into the Incorporated Societies workshop in here afterwards. The 24th Elevate meeting, and then Rodney and I went down to the Health Roadshow at Te Kuiti, which was quite interesting to learn that Te Kuiti Hospital will be a prototype for urgent and unplanned care. I think I can't remember how many there are in New Zealand, 6. So that was pretty cool. And as this is our last meeting, I just wanted to take a moment, because I probably won't get to speak again, because you guys will get to say your last speeches. I just wanted to acknowledge those that are stepping down and thank them. Mayor Max, first time I've called you Mayor. Thanks for your 12 years of service to our community. We haven't always seen eye to eye, but that's what makes a council table strong. Different views, good debates, and always respect. I really appreciate our working relationship and our laughs along the way. I wish you and Lindsay all the best for the future. Annette, your guidance and experience over the last 9 years has meant the world to me. Goodness.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for the way you've shared your wisdom and helped guide me on this journey. And it's always been a comfort knowing you're only a phone call away and always will be. Roy Johnson, your steady and calm nature has been a true asset to our council and something I've always admired. Roy, who's not here, although it's only been one term, it's been a real pleasure getting to know you and work alongside you. I also want to thank Tanya and all the council staff. So much of the work you do behind the scenes is often unseen, but it's truly appreciated. Serving our community in this way takes a lot of time and comes with sacrifices for not only ourselves, but our families. And I want to acknowledge that. Each of us tries to do the very best we know how, with our community always at the heart of it. If I'm privileged enough to be re-elected, it will blow my mind that I will be one of the longest serving councillors around the table. It's been an honour to serve alongside you all, and good luck to everyone that's going for re-election. That is me.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Dow.
I'll just go ditto to Katrina saved me reading and all that. But no, I think the people that are stepping down, thank you very much for what you've done for the district, and I wish you all well in the future. And but no, good on you. Thanks for what you've done.
Yes.
What I've been up to is Regional Transport Committee. They had a guy there from the safety camera, they call them safety cameras now, not speed cameras. NZTA have taken over the running of them from the police. So, and they've got even little trailers and all sorts now. So hopefully, they say they're putting them in areas that they need it for safety, but I don't know, it could be just topping up the revenue. But anyway, it's my opinion. The Associate Minister Matt Ducey at the health that me and Katrina went to, it was really interesting, quite an interesting guy. Yeah, so it was, he actually owned one of the, someone stood up in the audience and said, what do you know about health and mental health and all this? And he didn't, he sort of just chatted away and said, well, I'm a minister, we're here to govern, right? We don't need to know about the subject. And then he started talking about he's been 15 years working at the front line in England, and so he kind of knows a lot. So it was quite and it's really great to see. I think that that Tigwadi is going to be a prototype for healthcare, because it's something that all us communities need. I've been out to AOT and had a look at the seawall. That's what they're doing there. So but that's coming up later in the workshop. That's about me. So, all the best.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Hughes.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. I'd just like to reiterate the other two said about the councillors that are standing down, and as a first term councillor, the help that I've had through getting through this, whether I'm going to be a second term councillor is yet to be decided. But I certainly do appreciate what everybody around the table's done to help, especially us first terms this year. It's been great, and I wish everybody the best for the future. So, other than that, I've with the community board meeting on the 1st, we had a couple of workshops. This has been discussed in some earlier reports that were presented, and the risk and assurance meeting yesterday, which was a fairly long day. And as I found out that His Worship was a little under the weather yesterday, so it was fortunate that Councillor Prendergast, Jeffries and I could drag him through the day. Sorry, Max. I had to do that. He didn't let on yesterday that he was ill, but or feeling a little under the weather. But told him this morning, so sorry, I had to say that. But you did very well. So thank you.
Thank you, councillor Jeffries.
Yes, your secret was safe with Steve. Thanks, your worship. Yeah. 19th of September, went to the Meet the Candidates meeting in Kawhia. It was very well attended. About between 60 and 70 people there, I think. And that little hall was pretty jam-packed, wasn't it? So that was a really nice occasion, and I just want to thank all the candidates who turned up for that, and and for their speeches and so on. It was well received. Yesterday we had the Risk and Assurance Committee meeting, and there's quite a lot to come out of that, which I won't dwell on now, but it did raise some interesting issues yesterday. I just wanted to publicly acknowledge a member of the community out there who's actually leaving to go and live with closer to family in Ōtorohanga, and that's Jeanette Sholem. And Jeanette has, in the short time that she's been there, has made a significant contribution to the community out there through the museum, through the arts group, through the book club, through the fitness trail, you name it. Jeanette's been actively involved in all of that, and the community is going to miss Jeanette, but people like her too that need to step up and actually get involved with the community. So I just wanted to acknowledge the work that she has done. I just wanted to say thank you to the contractors who removed the trees as you come into Kawhia. The vista of the harbour now is just beautiful, and it was interesting to note that even though the intention was that the larger limbs and trunks of the trees were going to be taken away and perhaps donated to Marais for carving the like, they never got that opportunity. They seemed to disappear overnight, a lot of that wood. And so I'll leave that one alone, but yeah, I'll leave that one alone. And can I just add to my colleagues here, my thanks and appreciation to all of you for the last 3 years. I think probably from my perspective, and I've been around a little while now, the last 3 years has had some pretty meaty sort of issues to deal with. And I think, in my view anyway, I believe the council has handled those very well. And I thank everyone for their contribution to that. But in particular, I just wanted to say thank you to the staff and to Tania, because as you no doubt appreciate, a lot of the decision making that's made around the table is driven by the information and the reports and the advice that we receive from the staff. And I think we're very fortunate with the staff that we have at the moment. And so I just wanted to perhaps publicly acknowledge them as well. Yep. So that's me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, councillor. Right, moving on to the resolution register, Tanya.
Kia ora koutou. And thank you for those lovely words. Yeah, great team here, and you've seen from today's reports and yesterday at Risk and Assurance Committee, the calibre of staff that we've got in the organisation. So I'm very proud of that. In terms of the resolution register, we've got 7 on there. We're recommending that 6 of those be removed. Rewa Schoolhouse, Te Nehi Nehi Nui Joint Management Agreement schedules, the bylaws that have been reviewed, delegations in the interregnum period. If those of you who don't know what the interregnum period is, it's the period between one council leaving and a new one being sworn in and able to act. The reappointment of Councillor Mr. Roy Johnson in this one to the Ōtorohanga District Licensing Committee, the application for temporary road closure for Targa New Zealand. And so those ones are all being recommended to be removed. And then the last one is C431, which is the Ōtorohanga Historical Society request for assistance with the Rewa Schoolhouse. So that's staying on there because we haven't completed the actions from that.
Councillor Christensen.
The first one for Rewa, I'm just wondering if that should stay because it says by July 2026, but the building can't be removed in winter. They were hoping, yeah, I mean, it's going back and forth, I think, at the moment.
So through you, Your Worship, so would you like that to stay on pending the request to extend that date? Or we receive something from the.
Oh, I don't know if you'll receive something. It will all depend on when, like the consent goes to council, either next month or November, and how long it takes. The timeline is like, at the moment, looks like it's going to take until May. Yeah, so yeah, I would just leave it there for now.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm happy to do that. I wondered whether those later resolutions had superseded it, but I see they're a bit different. So
Yeah,
happy to keep that one on there.
Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Okay, we have the staff recommendation that Ōtorohanga District Council confirm the removal of resolutions 373, C76, C427, C428, 429, 430, and 431 from the register. Like to move they be removed. Secondly, councillor, have you got?
No. So we went removing 431.
Yeah, we've got a mistake. Sorry, I've just picked that up as well.
Sorry.
We're not removing C431.
My apologies.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's in the resolution. My apologies. So
Would you like me to read that again, Kyra? You're quite happy with that being taken out? Cool, thank you. Okay. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Right. Time. Okay, time. Time. Oh, well, it's 11:30, but don't care. We'll just give us a couple of moments.
yeah. So do you want to let people know what's happening next? Who haven't got the agenda?
Okay.
Sorry, just.
So this is what's happening next. We'll stop for a moment and then there'll be the valedictory speeches of myself, Councillor Williams and Councillor Johnson. And then we'll obviously go back into the meeting into public excluded following that. So I think, are we looking for a couple of minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, a couple of minutes. Relax, crowd. Are the bright lights on, so the big city's ready to go? It's not very often, everyone, that I actually write a speech, so it's kind of somewhat new to me. I'll give it a crack, eh? Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. This final address is my opportunity to reflect and acknowledge those who have supported me over the last 1.5 decades. And there have been many of you. I've been fortunate that I've had awesome support of my fellow councillors, Ōtorohanga District Council staff, the unwavering support of my own whānau, friends, farm staff, colleagues, and our district's residents during this local government journey. Leadership for me is all about empowering and inspiring those who you work alongside. And governance, having trust and providing support to those who are doing the mahi, is imperative. I'm yet to see people thrive on criticism, but I've seen plenty of people flourish through positive words and encouragement. I've been fortunate that in my 15 years in local government, the last 12 as mayor, I've always been part of a respectful and functional council. And I thank my colleagues for facing their governance responsibility with maturity and respect that should be the norm. But for many councils, this is not the case. I would never expect all decisions to be unanimous, but the expectation of courtesy should be a given. So again, thank you. I would also like to acknowledge the leadership of the mayors who wore the chains prior to me, especially Mayor Dale Williams, who was mayor during my 3 years as a councillor. There have been many highs and lows during my years as mayor, thankfully more highs than lows. On a high, it has been a privilege witnessing an organisation transform to one that is delivering at an incredibly high level. Being responsible for the fiscal performance that is the envy of most councils in New Zealand, and our comparatively low level of annual rates that our district ratepayers face is as a result of the hard work that has been done by those around me. It worries me that so many New Zealanders are experiencing the cost of living challenges, and it also worries me the continual negative rhetoric directed at local government, where more often than not the commentary is a distraction from other far greater issues or through ignorance. It is a broken, centralised political system. The figure that is never front page news that property tax or rates are only 10% of New Zealanders' total tax. How we spend those rates is extremely transparent. Contrarily, the other 90% of tax we pay in personal income tax, GST, surcharges, fuel tax, etc. are not. I do not expect councils to get a free ride, and scrutiny is important, but the vile toxicity that has been directed at elected members across the country is unacceptable, as the majority of councillors are honestly and selflessly contributing to the well-being of their respective communities. It has been heartening reflecting on the local achievements during my time as mayor. Council continues to invest ratepayers' money in maintaining some of the best rural roads in the Waikato, cementing our commitment to our rural communities. We've installed water meters in town to better monitor water usage. We've designed spatial plans and concept plans for the entire district, undertaking substantial consultation with our residents to establish a clear pathway for our future. We've provided the seed funding to build one of the best destination playgrounds in New Zealand. Council has repurposed and provided land where our medical centre is located, financially assisted our high school to ensure a high level of education for our students is provided. We've loaned a significant amount of money to Ōtorohanga Kiwi House for the redevelopment and have provided all the necessary support for the substantial additions to Waikeria Prison. Overseen and supported new subdivisions in Ōtorohanga Township and have continued to fund economic development arm for other beautification and business support objectives for our district. The opportunities I've experienced outside of Ōtorohanga have been many, varied, entertaining, and for me personally, some of the greatest times. I've spoken to community groups in Australia, supported business and promoted our district twice in China, have travelled the motu from Whangarei to Invercargill promoting Mayor's Task Force for Jobs. I've had the honour of chairing MTFJ for 7 years, and during that tenure, we established 34 community hubs, which contributed over $15 million to our rural economy with over 7,000 jobs for our rangatahi. I have talked in Parliament and have had the privilege of supporting Maniapoto iwi in Wellington through their treaty claims. All these wonderful experiences have left a small part of Ōtorohanga behind for people to remember. A particular memory which took place during this surreal, disruptive COVID period will stay with me forever. We were in yet another Zoom meeting, this one being the biggest I've participated in. On screen were the mayors and chief executives of our fine country, local government staff and a number of central government politicians. Well, we've all been to those meetings where cameras or video do not function for some unbeknown reasons, and this Zoom meeting was typical in that respect, or so I thought. During this particular hui, I was sure my audio was not working, and I became incredibly frustrated. To the point, I felt it appropriate, in the comfort of my office at home, that I expressed my frustration in the typical manner of unleashing a stream of expletives, asking Lindsay, my wife, if she could help me. I have never heard a phone react with such fury. I received texts and phone calls from across the nation informing me that the F words I was unleashing were for everyone's consumption. End result was a national apology to all present in the chat room. Lesson learned. The negatives have been few, but in some cases hurtful, not only for myself but my family. Without going into detail, the position of being in the public eye can lead to misinformation and lies where the only intent is to hurt. I have got off lightly compared to many of my colleagues. The position of mayor does at times require fronting the press. That in itself does not concern me, but the content of interest can lead to some sleepless nights, as I'm often privy to information that cannot be shared. I found reporters in the press across all formats to have been respectful, and generally by building a rapport, the reporting remains positive. The general rule of thumb is, show someone respect and the favour will be returned. More recently, it has been fascinating witnessing what is of the greatest importance to a number of our residents. I've learnt that sometimes you get things wrong and have to face the music. When you run a business where your investors are the very same people who are your consumers, there will always be a high level of scrutiny. When the criticism of your delivery is only on superficial quick fixes, I suspect you can be pleased with your performance. I agree that the council logo is very important to many, and should be revisited. What must be remembered is that Te Ōtorohanga is symbolic of unity and collaboration, kotahitanga, and is core to our council values of working with the community to build a strong, united future. The biggest decision that our council has made is joining Waikato Waters, which following extensive public consultation received only 4 submissions. I firmly stand by our decision that Waikato Waters Limited is the only viable, sustainable option for the future of water delivery, being mindful that it is a long-term decision and the returns may not be realised in the immediate future. I am proud of our decision to introduce Māori wards, and I find it incredibly disappointing that those in power attempt to make us believe that co-governance in Māori wards are a problem. My experience is the opposite. Amalgamation is currently not on the table, but my advice is keeping the dialogue open with the neighbouring councils on various collaboration options in preparation of a hand being forced in future. I must thank our staff for their mahi, their belief in our organisation and the spirit in which they work. I encourage everyone to share the purpose and values of Ōtorohanga District Council, as it is a great place, in fact, the best small rural council in New Zealand. I would especially like to acknowledge Councillor and past Deputy Mayor Roy Johnson and current Deputy Mayor Annette Williams. Your longevity, dedication and commitment to your roles has been of significant value, as have your level heads and great company. Thank you both so much for what you have contributed over many years, and a further expression of gratitude to all the councillors and community board members, past and present. Thank you to the people of Ōtorohanga District. Thank you for the respect you have shown to our staff, councillors and myself. Your contribution to the growth and vitality of the place we all call home is invaluable. Day, I thank you for supporting me in so many ways over the past 10 years. Thank you. I've had the privilege of working with 2 chief executives. I thank Dave Clibbery for his tight fiscal control he held over our council a control that has given us the opportunity to grow and deliver. Tanya, thank you for your leadership, your friendship, and growing an exceptional organisation. It has been a privilege sharing the journey with you, and I valued our time, not only talking work, but family and life stories. That will certainly be missed. Finally, being the Mayor of Ōtorohanga has grown me as a person to being a better person. The time spent in our local community, with the emergency services, our volunteer heroes, with our idea services whānau, our Māori communities, our rangatahi, our elderly, and people of all affiliations has been fundamental in not only my personal growth, but it has been transformational. What an opportunity, a privilege, and a delight. Thank you, Ōtorohanga, for the wonderful memories. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tēnā koutou katoa. No ingarangi, me kōtarana, me erana, me wera, o kuka whakapapa. Engari ko kirikiri roa, me te kuiti, te whenua tupu. Ko pirongia te maunga. Ko te hiroa te kāinga. Ko Annette Williams, tōku ingoa. Tēnā tātou katoa. In my first candidate meetings of 2013, I made observations about the role of elected members being clearly in governance, setting policy, monitoring performance, representing the interests of the community. I didn't have an agenda, and my undertaking was that if needed, I would speak against a majority position and seek more information where required. I was looking forward to the debate and taking a turn at helping to drive our mix of rural and country-urban communities. And looking back, while I said I didn't have an agenda, I do feel that being at the table and participating in the debate was the undertaking that I gave, and one that I'm comfortable I have fulfilled. And I hope that that's the view of my voters in the community over the years. I wasn't alone, however, and must acknowledge Mayor Max, all of the elected members of the last 4 trienniums and our chief executives. Someone once asked if I felt as an elected member that I was prevented from speaking in council. The question came as a surprise, but I had no hesitation in answering no. I have never felt that my contribution wasn't wanted or valued or suppressed. There may have been times after a meeting when a brilliant riposte came to mind, but in this council chamber, I believe everyone is able to contribute without fear. 2 questions I'm commonly asked are, why did you become a councillor, and are you enjoying being a councillor? Don't anticipate any motivational or inspiring answer to the first question, as the answer is pretty simple. I was asked. And on reflection, although that was actually only a second choice, being asked to stand rather than having a burning desire to stand is still okay. Have I enjoyed being a councillor? Yes. Not in a living the dream sort of way, but it has been so rewarding to meet and work with people at home and across the motu who are dealing with differing but often the same challenges in each of our local districts. In Ōtorohanga district, in most cases, we are able to meet challenges in a collaborative way. And to that point, I'd like to acknowledge Tanya and her team, who are at the coalface for a customer base that is our entire population. There is no alternative provider for roading and reticulated water. Like it or not, even if you did build your own reticulated water or lot system or long drop, there will be a regulation written somewhere that central government has delegated to local authorities, along with the costs. Our council agendas have moved to paperless and just as well in some cases recently, and I'd like to thank the staff who gather the information and present their recommendations, all the while knowing that in many instances, these will all be presented again to a new cohort of councillors who will need the same explanations and education on the business that is local government and democracy in action. I've learned a lot along the way, and on most occasions I head away with an uplifted frame of mind, having spent time on considerations on behalf of the community outside my own gate. Thank you to our work family in this building for all your support, and to my home family and friends who have had to work around council commitments. It has been rewarding to be a part of a shift from cautious austerity to a level of vibrancy, although that has already had to shift to steady as we go, given the current economic climate. Governing through a lockdown was another shift made by the whole organisation, with some good lessons in online etiquette. Put a shirt on, Kit. Roy. Master the mute button, Max. Our refurbished council building emerged post-COVID, and I'm very proud to have been sitting beneath this pari and with Te Tiriti behind us. In Dame Jenny Shipley's address to her submission on the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill, she called it unconscionable and noted that that was the same word she'd used in the delivery in November 1998 of the Crown's apology to Ngāi Tahu at Onuku Marae on Banks Peninsula. She was heartbroken that so much work had been done on building relationships by leaders, both Māori and Pākehā, that in her view was now being destroyed by the proposed bill. My vote to support the creation of a Māori ward in Ōtorohanga district was based on information also gathered through relationships with leaders. A recognition that the special agreement we have as a nation is still working on redress with dignity. On the day, we said a Māori ward was a tool in the toolkit. It may well be a tool that is retired in the future because we have managed to blend the best of Western and Māori governance, and we can walk together in both worlds. For now, it helps us all in Chambers to understand and value and respect our differences across all cultures. Our most recent and most significant decision has been the establishment of Waikato Water Limited, which is likely to reshape local governance. In closing, I'd like to take you back to a past debate described in this 1921 King Country Chronicle article, which highlights how some challenges remain timeless. A meeting of ratepayers was held on Thursday afternoon in Mr. L. Jacobs' office in Aurora Street in consideration of the question of county boundaries. Mr. A. Scholes was elected to the chair. In his opening remarks, the chairman said that he wished merely to state the case against the proposed new boundaries, and was doing so at the request of the chairman of the Waitomo County Council, Mr. James Waller. His position was an anomalous one, for actually he was strongly opposed to what had been arranged by council. It was said that a compromise was effected, but the speaker contended that no compromise had been effected at all. Ōtorohanga had got everything it wanted, and at Waitomo's expense. If the Commission had recommended the alterations that had been adopted, he would have made no complaint. But such was not the case. The Commission had merely adopted the agreement made between the councils. But even in doing this, it had gone outside of its duties. All it was expected to do was effect minor adjustments and boundaries, not set up new counties. It is now proposed to form a new county at Ōtorohanga by picking the eyes of Waitomo. The rateable value of the land that Waitomo was losing to Ōtorohanga was nearly £2 million, and the value of the land it was getting from Awakino was £900,000. Moreover, in Awakino, there was a great amount of third-class land that would not stand a high rate. There were also big areas of forest reserves to be roaded, and altogether there was no comparison in the quality of the country gained compared with that lost. In Ōtorohanga County, every acre is an asset and will stand high rating. I was in favour of a commission, said Mr. Scholes, but I did not expect that it would be run by 3 lawyers. I did expect that farmers, all their representatives, would have been selected. One solicitor represented both Awakino and Waitomo, and how could he do justice to both? Mr. Wall now says that it was on the solicitor's advice that he compromised. But if there was a compromise, what did Waitomo gain? As far as I can see, said Mr. Scholes, Waitomo was simply like a carcass thrown to the vultures. Continuing, Mr. Scholes said that the Waitomo County Council was elected simply to run the business of the county. It had absolutely no authority to give away any portion of the county, to which there was applause. What the council and its solicitor should have done was to stood over the carcass until they were kicked off. The ratepayers could then have said to them, "You fought well, and we are grateful to you." What did they do? They put up no fight at all. Nō reira, haere rā, tēnā tātou katoa.
I don't know why I feel a little bit nervous. I know you're all here. Tēnā koutou katoa, the mayor, councillors and staff, and those in the public. It's been a privilege for me to be a council member for the last 15 years and a privilege to represent the people who have voted me into that position over that time and the people who didn't vote for me. I came from a background of federated farmers. It was a logical progression to become a council member. In both roles, I just love representing farmers and rural people. In the early days of council, Max and Graham Bunn would remember this because all the other faces are new since that time. But we had council meetings every 3 weeks, and I can't remember a workshop. We relied on the staff to run the mandate that we had set, and that was to keep costs down and keep rates down, and that's what we did. In my fourth triennium as deputy mayor, I only had to run the one meeting at the start of COVID lockdown, with Max already in lockdown. And it was very short, but we were basically handing over decision-making powers to our chief executive. I did realise at the time that we were witnessing history, and I introduced the meeting with these words. These are unprecedented times. What happens in New Zealand over the next 4 weeks or more will determine how many of our fellow New Zealanders and loved ones will literally live or die. Who knows where we will be when this subsides? How we act as a community will plainly save lives. We have a duty to protect our staff and ourselves while this council continues to provide essential services during this lockdown. If we fail in this role, we are just adding to the burden of the public. For this reason, we must enable our CE to do what is required. Albeit small, this will help to give our district an opportunity to win against this disease. This is witnessing history. Let's get started. Then I called for apologies. I never did have to take over from Max in his absence, although for 1 week while he was overseas, they briefed me in case a reporter rang me that there had been a serious altercation on the main street, and I'm very serious. COVID had broken out in Kawhia and a UFO had been sighted on Ngā Road. It was actually reported to police. Many of you will recall that at our first council mark, we had a C+, which I took personally. I thought we were marked pretty hard, especially as our austere financial policies did have the district in a pretty good financial situation as opposed to others, at least in terms of rates and rate rises especially. I took exception to the lack of vibrancy in our district. And I made it my business to unite the passions of the Kiwi Town Cruisers and the Vintage Machinery Club to initiate the Piston Festival. I must admit that the wonderful steampunk festival of a few years earlier was remembered by many and still is, and was a great event, except it ran away on us. This had burnt our fingers, and the prospect of running events in our town was seen by some as too hard. I saw that as a challenge, and with infectious enthusiasm, it brought together different interests of the people in town, provided something for kids, provided something for businesses in town, and something that was risk-free. While we have had 3 of them, and now the truck show, organised on the same principles, these all have the potential to continue to grow into something bigger. The task continues to be how to do that and minimise risk. I guess the best job of being a councillor is when you go to represent the council at a community event. It is so great to talk to people and to be given the opportunity to praise people for their services to the town. Those sorts of events are the cream of the job. The more challenging parts of the role is getting used to bureaucracy. When you become a councillor, you have great ambition of applying private enterprise principles and speedy decision-making to the local government. You learn that this can never happen. I've always supported our staff, and the staff are comforted to know that they have the support of their elected people. That's our job, to make sure Tanya and her team are enabled to do the best in their job. If there are things that people are complaining about, it may be that staff are under pressure, or it might be that they haven't been given all the information to finish their job, which sometimes happens. There are 2 sides to every story. You can just about be sure that when you make inquiries, there's an engineer's report that hasn't come through or some other hold-up which is non-council related. I want to acknowledge and thank Tanya for leading her great team. For the community, we are incredibly lucky in this town to have a thriving informal economy, with the thanks to Sarah and John Oliver and other benefactor families in the district. Another one of our jobs as councillor is to enable these people, to make progress for the community and enable the community to support these people. Could we do more? While being on council, I've previously been a trustee for the Charitable Trust and currently for the BT Community Trust. And it's been amazing to see the growth in our town from the generous benefactors and for BT Home, the government through the Provincial Growth Fund. We have had constant growth and there is more to come, something I am proud to be part of. The reason I am retiring is I think you need new blood around this table. And it appears that it will be the case for the next triennium. Great. I'm a big believer in teamwork and I'm a big believer in mutual respect. That is respecting everybody's views around the table and remembering to really listen. I would just like to take the opportunity to thank Max for his leadership over the time I have been in council. He has certainly filled the role well and has gone from strength to strength over each triennium and will be missed. I'm comfortable to continue my role on the District Licensing Committee as it is not onerous and I have the necessary training, skills and experience for this decision-making role. In terms of the community, I am glad to continue to be on the BT Community Trust. We have a great board and it is rewarding to be part of a trust with enthusiastic and motivated people. I'd like to continue with the Piston Festival every second year and helping Rodney with the truck show every other year. It's rewarding to be organising fun. In terms of my professional career, I plan to extend my mediation skills from farm debt, business and rural practice to the potential for local government. And I have updated my website already for that. Sorry for the unashamed promotion. But Google Roy Johnson Council mediation. When paths collide and a council or board might face challenges, my independence, experience and mediation skills will be uniquely useful for getting things back on track. I'd like to thank my wonderful wife, Antoinette, sitting down the back, for the home support. Her encouragement and grounding have truly made it possible for me to represent the community and my work as a councillor. Thank you to all the councillors that have been part of the team over the last 3 and 15 years. I think the balance of new blood and old blood in the new council coming forward will be a good basis to keep the town on track. Cheers.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. We're gonna take those under.
Sorry, those people that are watching us on screen, we're just going to get our photo taken. No, but thank you for listening to our valedictory speeches. It's been an honour and a real privilege to serve our community. So thank you.